tonight, what we're doing is 10 card Celtic Cross spread readings. These are detailed, full stories that they unravel themselves gradually as readings. They are meant to sort of have us delve in and dig deep into the issue, get into the underlying motives or issues or mental processes going on, things we're unaware of. They're kind of I like them because they're the novels of tarot readings, whereas the 3 card reading that we normally do, if we look around the tarot temple here in Altspace VR, over there, the big screen, normally I put 3 cards up there, and we do rather succinct readings for visitors that come in and ask questions. But tonight we are going to include everyone in the VR world, and of course the anyone watching on Twitch. And the reading will initially be for all of us, just something to ponder, to think about over the next few days. And we will look over here. I have a smaller screen set up behind the gathering spot that's a little bit easier for people to see, I think. And so what'll happen is when we start the readings, when people start coming in, usually they start wandering in from over there where the entrance is, and they make their way up here. I'll sort of segue into the reading. And this is an app. I'll repeat this for visitors when they come in, but this is an app that I wrote. It's essentially my book on the tarot. It covers the entire tarot deck, the Tarot de Marseille deck. But it's also a fully interactive tarot reader that shuffles and allows you to pick cards after the shuffle, and it places the cards into the Celtic Cross reading positions that you see on the right side on that green bottle there. So, and then it gives us the reading fully explained, and of course I will go through it and elaborate, of course, as I always do. But it also has a little feature I built in, which is an AI that, it's a machine learning thing that after the reading is done, there's this little system that reads the text of the reading and determines what its general tone is, optimistic to cautious, sort of in a range there of 3 or 4 possibilities. So the readings tonight, which I'm including myself in, they could be optimistic, they could be sort of in the middle, they could also be somewhat pessimistic or disadvantageous. We don't know. Whatever the cards come out as, and whatever the system determines the general tone of the reading. Now, of course, disadvantageous readings, I'll explain what that means. It doesn't mean that some horrible crisis is going to happen. It just means that there are things to look out for. There are problems to pay attention to, things that need work. That's what it is. So, and it's fun. It's fun to do it this way with this app. This is an app that I wrote some years ago, and I use every once in a while. But it's out there on the web for people to use to get readings whenever they want them, if they want to dig in. And what's good about it is you can do stuff like this. Like if you pick a card and let's say go, so and when you get the full reading out in here, you can then click over here on the cards, and over in this big box over here, get a real full explanation of that card, just as you would get in a tarot book. And it is in fact a tarot book. It is my version of a tarot book, which I am going to, of course, format properly for book format and print, which will be a fun thing to do. But and the other thing is about a book. That would be a fun thing to stream about, is the production of the book. There's also a deck that I'm working on. I'd kind of like to, in fact, finish the deck and include it as the deck that goes along in the book. But anyway, that's all. That's coming, but it will make for really interesting streams, I think. And how this is done, how you do this, how you kind of decide what to put in a chapter, and those sorts of decisions and things that go along with making a book. So it's still a little bit before. It's 1 minute before 6 p.m. Pacific time. So the event here in Altspace VR does not start until 6. So nobody will come in for another few minutes. So we're going to wait a little bit. Let me make sure that I'm just checking the stream to make sure everything is working. Looks good. I think I'm slowly getting the hang of technical microphony sorts of things. Because when you stream and combine that with Altspace and VR and all that stuff, you can get into these tricky little quagmires. Technically. Like, where's the sound coming from? Oh no, I can't have the sound coming from two sources at once. I can't have it coming from a headset and a PC, because then it'll be like delayed and repeating on top of each other. Oh my gosh, it's all these little things. So getting a system that works well, combining live stream with VR, is kind of the fun of all this. If anyone has done that kind of thing, they will know what I'm talking about when you try to get clever with live streaming. But the great thing about being in VR and using a live stream at the same time is that live stream, it gets there, it gets saved, and so you can then export that and keep it and let people come back and reference things that they thought were interesting, maybe in a particular stream. That's a really good. That's why I really like it. It's mainly so that anyone who found something fascinating, a person who had a reading in here during the stream, can then go back and say, oh yeah, I can go back and reference that if I want to. They can kind of check in on it. That's just kind of cool. So I'm looking around here. This is not me. This is the camera operator avatar. I will pop in and you will see me walking around in front of this screen. I'm just talking through the microphone right now. So in a moment, I'll get myself in there, and I think I'll probably do that now, because I usually people start showing up right about 5 after or so. So let me start.
Okay. I'm in. Let's see. Um, okay. Yeah. Okay. So here I am. uh, I'm just sort of getting myself situated. I'm going to clear this reading off the screen, and that's how the cards shuffle, basically. So, yeah. Anyway, hello, stream. Here I am in the Tarot Temple. So, what we do now is we wait a little bit, and then I will just simply start. A couple. Here comes someone. I see someone approaching, right down there. Hello, how are you doing? How are you doing? Welcome to the Tarot Temple. Um, what we are doing here, what we are doing here is we're going to use this screen over here. See, this screen is the same as that screen. That's just mirroring it. But I figured that this screen is a little easier for people to see when there's a lot of text on it or stuff. So what this is showing is an app that I wrote for tarot readings and to explain that it's a book on tarot basically, but it's also an app for doing tarot. And I can use it in here interactively to do full 10 card Celtic Cross readings. And what I'm going to do is we'll see if a few people come wandering in here for this event. And the idea is that I'm going to then do a full 10 card reading for all of us, for the group, uh, and go through it, and you will see how the system will lay the whole reading out for us visually, and also it'll have text over here in this box explaining our reading for us and giving us the general tone of the readings, optimistic, the range sort of what the basic sort of uh, note, the general note of the reading is. It could be somewhat pessimistic. It could be optimistic. We don't know. I'm going to include myself in this reading. So whatever we get, we get. And I will go through it, of course, and put more detail into the reading as it goes. But the way it works basically is I click that black button on the bottom over here on my other PC, and it shuffles the cards for us. So you'll see them actually shuffle. They actually it's actually shuffling the entire 78 card deck every time I press that button. And then I can select those cards individually, one by one, for the reading. Um, so what I'll first do is I'm just going to launch right in to the reading so that we don't waste time actually pulling cards. And then if people come in late, they can see the entire reading up on the screen anyway. All right. So I'm going to shuffle a few more times just for good luck. And the idea here about the reading is kind of like what we want to keep in mind, what kind of sort of energy is going to be sort of flying around us, and what we have to deal with over the next few days, week, let's say, as we approach holiday season, that kind of sort of generalized reading. So I'm still shuffling, and now I'm going to stop shuffling and start pulling cards. So the first card that comes out is the heart of the matter, the major concern. Second card is current obstacle. Third card is root cause, inner factor. fourth card is a past fading influence. Fifth is conscious intention or self-advice. Sixth is near future. Seventh is our personal self-image. Eighth is outer social influence or image. 9 is hopes and fears. And 10, likely outcome. And there's our reading. And lo and behold, we seem to have hit a reading tone of optimistic, which I'm kind of happy about since we are approaching holidays. For the month of December, I kind of think should be a little optimistic. So what I'm going to do now is get my little laser pointer ready for operation so I can point at things and make them a little clearer. Okay. There we go. All right. There's my pointer. Okay. Reading tone is optimistic. 10-card Celtic cross spread. Let's look at the first thing that jumps out looking at this reading is there is only one big major card in it. It's that one, the High Priestess. This card is a court card. It's not quite as major. Everything else, all around here, all of these, the four corners, everything, they're number cards. That means that in general, this reading is somewhat temporary. It's not going to pester us for a huge, long amount of time. Okay, that's just something we need to be aware of, and it's an optimistic sort of light reading. That's what's going on. Let's look at the very first card, the heart of the matter. And what you can see, what I've written in the app to show here in number 1 position up here, major concern or heart of the matter. The 5 of Swords represents a new point of view or idea that leads beyond the current limits. The mind may be engaging in more spiritual thoughts and seeking higher enlightenment. So the basic concern that we're having for the next little while is this idea of moving a little bit beyond our normal limits in the way we think about things. And this could be work, it could be thinking about ourselves, our own development, it could be dealing with family or anything that requires us to put our mind to work, to deal with conflicts, to discuss. That's what the swords are all about. So the 5 is always an element that comes in and kind of upsets things a little bit, but creates opportunity for essentially higher understanding, higher enlightenment, any form of new awareness. And that's at the heart of what we're talking about here tonight. Now, the second card, it's the card that crosses over us. That's sort of, it's an obstacle or a major influence at the moment. And what we've got here is the 6 of Cups, which suggests harmony and happiness of true love and understanding of one's emotions. Love expands with confidence and reaches higher levels. The 6 is always the sense of overflowing harmony, attraction to other people, wanting to be with them, wanting to share with them, wanting to just sort of have a community. It can be very familial, it can be friends, but it's that whole sense of gathering people around and sharing your feelings and feeling really good with each other. That's what the 6 is. So clearly, it is one of our concerns. We use the word obstacle for this card, but it doesn't really mean an impediment. It means something that's like sort of glaring, that we kind of see everywhere we look, which makes a lot of sense when holidays are approaching, like between Thanksgiving and New Year's and that kind of thing. It makes a lot of sense, actually, to be thinking about that 6 of Cups, because it's that harmonious sharing of enjoyment with anyone's people, anyone's group. So that we have to pay a lot of attention to. And it comes in right on top of that Five of Swords we just talked about, that new awareness. So there's something about thinking in a new way, maybe, about how to make people happy around us. Maybe that's why these two cards are on top of each other, like the way they are. We'll find out a little bit more as we go. So we move on to the third card down here, which is unconscious root cause. It's underlying us. It's sort of what we're not really aware of moment to moment. And what we've got there is, in fact, another five. Just like we have the Five of Swords up here, we have the Five of Coins, Pentacles. The Five of Pentacles symbolizes the appearance of sudden challenges and conflict with the possibility for increased financial and physical success. So, okay, this is a sort of an impulse we have. We're kind of like, this is something we're not aware of. This is percolating inside our dream life. And it's this idea of, sudden, like, new opportunity, something, again, that's it can be a little concerning. We're not always comfortable about it, but it presents opportunity. We have to decide. We have to kind of use a new opportunity in order to grow. How does that fit in with family and expressing our feelings for them, taking new approaches? How does that all fit? How does all this emotion and thought, new thoughts, new ways of thinking fit in with some kind of a new opportunity, financially, physically, job, health, something going on there that's concerning us without us necessarily always being able to verbalize it? Okay, so let's find out more. Let's go to the fourth, which is past fading influence, something we're kind of moving away from now, right here. This is a little bit behind us, but it's kind of put us where we are. Eight of Swords, but it's reversed, it's upside down, which indicates it may suggest a closed mind or a dogmatic approach to the current situation. Well, this fits, because look here, this five, the current root of the matter, is all about new thoughts, new ways of thinking about things. So we're leaving in the past this closed, restricted mind. So something we were not happy about. We're a little unsatisfied with the way maybe we were thinking about things over the past year, and we're ready to sort of say, hey, you know what? There's a new way to approach these things. That's kind of what this means. So let's now move up to what is conscious, what the reading wants us to ponder and think about, fully aware. And that is the King of Swords. This is sort of what the cards want us to tell ourselves, to our self-advice. King of Swords signifies the confident and wise authority of an intellect based on precision and truth that takes action in the world. It wants us to think about being careful about what we say and do before we take action. Now, we've been talking about new ways of thinking, leaving the old habits behind over here, possibly new ways of thinking that influence how we express our feelings for those close to us, new opportunities physically and in health. All of these new sorts of opportunities that are sort of changing the status quo. Well, now the King of Swords shows up and says, okay, with all these new approaches, just keep your wits about you and stay calm and measured. Use your sort of innate ability to make careful, wise decisions that actually benefit people around us, just beyond ourselves. That's why that king is there as the card to remind yourself about. And that card, in fact, has an arrow here because it modifies the final outcome. It has an effect a little bit further down the road, which we'll get to. Now let's move on to the future, something coming up. Sixth position over here. This is something we're moving into rather than away from. And that is the high priestess. And she basically represents intuition and receptivity. Listen to the wise voice of your fertile inner mind as you prepare and focus. She's all about the inner voice, the inner quiet mind, the subconscious, but she's able to get into the subconscious and let it influence her. And she brings things out of it and she can express them. She's the perfect definition of the poet or the poetess, the musician, the writer, anyone that delves into the sort of intuitive life and brings treasure out. And the cards are suggesting that we move further in that direction. Because in fact, if we're talking about new ways of thinking, ways of expressing harmony with our family and friends, new approaches to taking care of ourselves down here, then this intuitive mind starts to really play an important role. And it's the only major card in the entire reading, which means it is really of the utmost importance in this reading. For the next little while here, it's suggesting to all of us, trust your intuition. Be your own self-poet. Write the novel of your own self. Be an artist of life, basically. That's what this card is telling us to do. Okay, so now let's look at the slightly more subtle, complicated cards that are at the four corners leading to the final outcome. So the seventh card gets into this odd sort of idea of personal self-image. It's kind of like saying, it's like what we kind of see when we look into the mirror, what we think sort of about ourselves in this situation, or what we kind of maybe try to think, how we sort of imagine ourselves, which is sometimes ridiculously wrong, you know. But let's look at it. Personal self-image, the Three of Pentacles is reversed, it's upside down, can symbolize stagnation and aversion to risk, limiting the potential for gain. It can also mean an ill-advised rush to action. So if we look at this card we're moving away from up here, this stagnant thought that we talked about earlier, that upside down 8, stagnant thought, let's get away from that and think about new ways of thinking over here. Well, we've got kind of stagnant self-image here where we're kind of not taking a few chances maybe we should take in the realm of this same coins, like down here, where here we were talking about our unconscious motivation with this sort of new approach being signaled by the 5. Over here in our self-image, when we look in the mirror, we kind of see, we kind of don't. We're worried about not doing new things. We're not going to the gym and trying new exercises. We're not going to the new kind of doctor to have a checkup, or the new kind of vitamin program, or we're not doing the new financial investments that we should for our retirement because we're too lazy to read the instructions and that kind of thing. That's what this card is sort of showing. And it's saying, hey, yeah, this is kind of what we're thinking lately, which is okay. Self-image, fine. Because the entire reading is suggesting that we actually do things a little bit differently. So we know this, we know. And we know that it's a reaction to this kind of, shut down status quo quality over here. So fine, let's just leave that and move on to number 8 over here, which is kind of how we think other people see us. Like, when you're getting dressed to go somewhere and you think, how are the people at the party going to think I look in this shirt? It's kind of that thing. And it says the 5 of Wands, and it's reversed. Here's another 5, just like this one and this one, meaning change, something new. 5 of Wands reversed can mean a lessening of tensions and further cooperation in creative pursuits or your passions. One may decide to accept current limitations. So the wands are the creative energy. They're what you use in order to do new things and make new things. If you want to say, okay, I need to think differently about my finances and job, well, the energy that you put into that to doing those new things comes from the wands suit. That inspirational energy, the will to do something or make something comes from the wands. And this five is normally sort of an unsettled number of new things coming in, just as I said before about the swords and the pentacles. But it's reversed. So it's actually indicating that we're not necessarily being upset by something new, that in fact we may be settling that energy down a little bit, which means in this position that's sort of how we think other people see us. Like we might think, oh, other people may kind of be looking at us as basically sort of easygoing and cooperative and kind of limited in our approach to things and how we creatively tackle things. This may be what we kind of assume other people might think of us. So we kind of probably want to resist this. We kind of want to change people's perceptions usually. People usually don't want to be thought of as being mildly creative or just sort of easygoing about what they're making. We want to feel a little bit more inspired. And this card is sort of showing, well, maybe we're not quite paying attention to new ways of doing our work and doing what makes us happy. So, okay, fine. Let's move on and look at the ninth, hopes and fears. This is kind of what we're worried about. Kind of keeps popping up and goes, oh, and we go like, oh God, I hope that's not the case in all of this. And that's another five, strangely enough. The five, that number of new, unsettled something or other intruding upon our comfort and presenting change possibility. Here it is again in cups, the heart again, like the sick. The five of cups now shows up. Reversed may mean seeking the comfort of well understood emotions and safety rather than the conflict of new and higher possibility. That's because the five is upside down. So instead of dealing with new feelings, new things that make us grow, we're kind of a little bit more complacent. That's basically what's happening here. A little complacent. Now, how does that lead us to 10, to the final outcome, the likely outcome? The Three of Wands marks the moment when accumulated inspiration and ideas begin to move into action and connect with the wider world. So something here ultimately allows us a breakthrough, allows us to move into action with new creative ideas, to approach our work in a new way. That's what ultimately happens here for us in this reading, which is actually why we get an optimistic tone in our reading up here. Now, the modifier for this three of cards, which is very active energy, the three, always active energy. The modifier is the King of Swords, which means basically all of this change we've been dealing with, all of these fives, dealing with how we approach things, how we use our intuition over here to deal with expressing our feelings, um, conducting our family, dealing with our finances and our health, all these new ideas that we're going to be juggling lead to action and activity and new approaches, creative solutions, tempered by a reminder to be wise and cautious and somewhat measured in how we commit ourselves to new ideas and take new actions. And overall, it is optimistic, I think. I love that the um, high priestess here is so significant coming up in the near future. To pay attention to the inner voice is always a great card to get in tarot. So there we have a pretty nice reading, all things considered, I think. Um, I think sometimes, I think we lost our one visitor tonight. It's a very, very slow night. Usually there are a group of people in here, but I think what happened is that he was able to get the gist of the reading very quickly, of course, from reading the the thing, and didn't really need to hear me get through to the end. So, well, that's how it goes. That's the intent of this app, is to, you know, let people get their own reading. So there you have that. Let me check in on my Twitch. Let's see what's going on over there. Everything seems to be good. Okay. Now, let me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the High Priestess card because I like it so much. So here we can see more about the High Priestess and what she represents. The major terms that I've isolated: penetrating vision, receptivity, inner voice, spiritual awakening, concealment, intuition, self awareness. This is the thing that we are supposed to move closer to in the near future for this reading. Um, she seems to receive secret knowledge from mysterious places. She hears the inner voice of the unconscious and does not ignore it or fear it. She brings it forth into the world, making words of it and offering it for others. She contains the strength of a unified soul in contact with its own secrets. She is receptive to mind, matter, and spirit. She communes with herself and knows when to remain silent. The High Priestess may indicate that you are ready to delve into the workings of your own thoughts. Where do they come from? Why do they work the way they do? Perhaps you are inclined toward mysticism and wish to examine less rational aspects of life. Take the guidance her image gives you, seek with a calm fortitude, and be assured of eventual success and expanded personality. The High Priestess, if reversed, can herald the coming of a closed mind, the turning away from less obvious modes of thought. Beware also of letting the inner voice run amok with irrationality and emotional imbalance. Instead of keeping secrets and denying your inner voice, consider allowing her to guide you in understanding your deepest wants and secrets instead. Reversed meanings can be closed mindedness, emotionalism, irrationality, rigidity, keeping secrets, oversharing. But that's not what we got in our reading. We got the priestess right side up. So we got these, these ideas up here on the top. Fortunately. So let's have a look also at, let's look at that 6 again. That 6 of Cups. So let's look at the reading. And then there we go. Okay, so the 6 of Cups we got as our sort of crossing obstacle, something that's heavily influencing the current scenario. And we see here love, happiness, confidence, respect, optimism, perfection, family harmony, self-understanding, beauty. Yeah. Number cards represent day-to-day outcomes or influences. The 6 of Cups suggests true happiness and beauty within a life of feeling. Love of self has flowered and emerged with confidence. Oh, hi. How are you? Welcome to the Tarot Temple. I'm just going through, I just did a 10-card reading. You can see the cards over here. I should probably unmute. I'm going to unmute the, there, I unmuted the microphone.
Hi, I'm just.
Hi. The reason I was, Denver Chicky, hi. So I did this 10-card reading, which I will show. I was just sort of drilling down.
3-card reading.
So you can, this is an app. Hi, how are you? This is an app that I wrote for doing 10-card tarot, Celtic Cross readings.
Cool.
And normally,
Okay, I'll do a reading.
Oh, okay. Let's do that. Okay. So, do you have a question you'd like to ask?
Me?
Yeah, what's in store for my love life?
There you go. Okay, we're going to do a 10-card reading on this, so it's a big one, okay? So, hang on.
Right.
I
only have 20 minutes.
Okay, no problem. Watch the screen here, and I will shuffle the cards. Okay. We are shuffling. I'm clear there. So the cards are being shuffled. And now I'm going to pick 10 cards.
What's in
Theo.
2.
Yes.
3. 4. 5.
Actually, I think I fell in love with Theo. I don't need a reading
6.
anymore.
7.
Theo's my
8.
boo. Theo's my boo-boo.
9.
How do I do a dab?
Oh boy. Okay, so look at the very first word at the top there, and you're going to see that it says optimistic. Okay, so let me explain what's going on here. This card right here, the first card in the middle, is the root, the main issue here. And you'll notice that it's a 2, and the 2 is always the number of coupling, of joining in preparation for further development. It's a good number when you're talking about love life because it indicates coupling. And we're talking about the coins here, which is very physical. Now, what I wrote about this card in this reading here is the 2 of Pentacles implies a preparation for union or agreement leading to increased resources and possibility for prosperous action. Now, the coin suit represents the body, work, job, money, anything sort of material, anyone you want to touch, anyone you want to wrap your arms around, anything like that in the world that you can kind of get, anything you can gain for yourself, which can include a partner. And the coupling symbol has a blue ribbon wrapped around it that's about to close both ends, which gives you the number 8 or the infinity symbol, which means infinite potential. So right here in the very heart of your reading pops out the 2, which is the the huge big symbol of coupling. Okay? So it's a perfect way to start. Now, the thing that's coming like of a concern that pops out over this whole thing, the Queen of Cups, but she's reversed when she's facing this way. And that indicates a lack of emotion or connection. It can also mean a smothering emotional control of others and obsession with extremes. So basically why this is saying that is it's saying, watch out for this. As you seek your, some kind of an outcome in your love life, watch out for this tendency. It doesn't necessarily mean you. It could mean the other person. It's saying, hey, sometimes there's a tendency for a coldness or this smothering approach where somebody tries to sort
Being
of
attracted
control
to
you.
the wrong type of people.
Yeah. So this card is a warning about that, just to
Feels
keep
not
your
like that,
keep
so.
your eyes open. Now, let's come down to sort of what's inside, like unconsciously
Hot.
that you're not aware of, okay? And that says it's about the root cause, something
Stuck in a rut.
something unconscious driving you that you're not really cognizant of. And that is showing the 9 of Swords reversed can mean mental hesitation and inability to reach a breakthrough or find a new path through the current situation. So all
that's
this
true.
means to make this like a little bit more obvious, it's like maybe you're in a rut and you're sort of doing the same things the way you used to, and they don't necessarily
COVID,
work
you know,
that
the
well.
COVID rut.
Yeah.
I'm in
Okay.
the COVID rut.
Yeah. And
COVID
so this card is there basically saying, let's just,
Ooh,
that's
maybe it's
sort of
saying
a thing
I
you're
should
not
look
always
at
aware of.
my other opportunities, like my alt space lover Theo.
There you go.
Dude, what is your zodiac?
Theo is like my zodiac. I'm a Pisces.
Well, now
Oh,
remember,
wait, I'm a Pisces.
this is very
You are a
unconscious.
Pisces? Oh my
Yeah.
God. I mean, I do
I'm
the
sorry to
Pisces.
interrupt.
Okay.
Now,
Oh,
let's go to the 4th card, which is an interesting one because that's something you have to sort of move away from. And that's like, this is sort of recently in the past and you need to sort of clear it out. And what that is showing is the 7 of Wands indicates new inner visions and intuition leading toward higher goals and achievements. There's new creative force and a willingness to listen to your own inner voice. So you're kind of like, it's basically saying, this is something you have, and you don't have to be nervous about it. You don't have to try and get more of it. You already have this ability to listen to your inner voice, to approach things in a new way. Okay? And it's saying kind of let go of that. Don't have concerns about that. Now, let's move on to the 5th card, which is basically, this is consciousness. This is what you should constantly remind yourself of when you're talking about your love life. Like, put this in a little yellow Post-it on the fridge door. That's what this card is.
Oh, okay.
Okay? And that card, it's like self-advice. The Page of Wands shows youthful enthusiasm, gathering of energy in someone who stands ready to take creative action, but hesitates because of doubt and inexperience. Well, we're all that way in our love lives. We're all full of doubt and inexperience every time we meet someone, right? It's normal. And it's simply saying, remember that all that doubt and inexperience combines in this Page of Wands with enthusiasm and wanting to go forward and do these new things. So you just sort of tell yourself that. And the wands are the suit of passion anyway. Okay? That's what they are. They're the fire suit. Now, let's go on to number 6, which is something that's coming. The Two of Cups reversed
Oh, no.
may mean an incompatible partnership, an absence of emotion, or conflict, or solitude. Okay.
Solitude. For sure.
Well,
Solitude.
you have to remember this card down here that we talked about before. Remember, we were talking about coldness or smothering or controlling, to be on the lookout for that.
Mhm.
Well, this card over here is saying something like that might be coming, so be ready. There might be one you'd want to pass up. So just be on the alert.
Sorry, Theo. Not gonna work out.
Now, on the
That's funny.
7th card is kind of what you kind of sort of sometimes think about yourself when you look in the mirror or when you think about how you do things. It's kind of, this is something that sort of concerns you about yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
Self-image. 5 of Swords, and
Yeah.
it's reversed. It can mean conflicting ideas, untruth, dogmatic approach to thinking, poorly understood or repressive religious ideas can inhibit intellectual growth. So it's just saying there's kind of a stagnation of thinking that you might be worried about.
Yeah.
So you might be thinking, why do I keep doing the same things over and over again and they don't really work out that well?
Yeah.
That's all that is. It's not a huge deal. It's just like, okay, if I see that in myself, I can take care of it. Now, 8, as we move now 8, we're getting out into how other people see us, or how we think other people see us. Well, there you've got a queen showing up with a baton. And clearly this indicates that, whoops, I'm rejoining, sorry. I hope you can hear me. I'm coming back. Sorry, I'm back. I lost connection briefly.
There he is.
I'm back. Okay, so at where we were.
Alright, you're back.
Yeah, I had to come back in.
Hey.
We
Yeah.
have Denver Chicky. We
So
Can't hear you though.
can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Birdman. Nice.
Give you a minute.
Headset power is low. Please plug in your headset. Uh-oh. I can't be
Everybody's
it.
got to plug in. Me too.
Are you from Colorado?
Yeah.
Nice.
Can you hear me now?
No, I'm from New York.
New York.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
What
where
happened?
were we? We were talking about let me
Social
get
influence. Number
yeah,
8.
let me get my I got to get my pointer again. I'm telling you, man, Altspace sometimes does these weird glitchy things. I don't know
Glitchy things.
what
Yeah,
it is.
I predicted that. Yeah.
Isn't your
Sucks.
controller right here?
Yeah, I'm trying to
Is your
get it.
controller?
Yeah.
Oh.
There we go.
Yeah, let me.
Okay, so
There's another one,
how
right?
other people see us, and we're talking here about the Queen of Wands, which represents the power of knowing and nurturing creative power and full expression. She protects and immerses. She's passionate and productive. You have reached a point of mastery. So other people seem to view you with this kind of positive, nurturing sort of
Queen
feeling.
of.
Well, yeah, they kind of see you as this helpful
I don't see
person that sort of
nurturing in
that keeps
Yeah.
everything kind of moving ahead and growing and a little bit inspiring, basically, is the
Be
idea.
ambitious.
Yeah, ambitious, but
Okay.
also wise and sort of understanding.
Yeah.
She's not crazy,
Okay.
impulsive or anything. She kind of keeps a kind of gentle sort of quality, even when she's being highly
Oh,
creative.
yeah, that is me.
Well, so this is kind of how
Okay.
people look at you. Okay.
So they're
Now,
intimidated by me.
who knows? Now, up here, hopes and fears. This is kind of like sort of what you're a little worried about in seeking like
No,
the whole love life thing. And you've got the King of Wands,
Mhm.
shows a person at the height of mastery, fully enjoying the success that follows effort. He creates opportunity,
Yeah,
both
that is my hope to
worldly
meet my king
and
of wands.
spiritual. Well,
Mhm.
this is a hope then, because it's such a positive card. And if you view it immediately, sort of instinctively, as kind of who you're looking for, then that's what that's what it is. That's appropriate. So looking for someone that displays this kind of mastery and control, but just like the Queen of Wands down here, it's very similar. This is really actually a really good match. You've got the Queen of Wands, how people see you already, and this kind of hoping that you run into the King of Wands, who has the same qualities, you know,
Mhm.
and so that's actually a very good sign. And if you'll notice, the next card over is the likely outcome, and guess what card it is? The Lovers. And what it says represents union and harmony, and also possibility of an important choice. The Lover's card always implies not only finding someone, but it implies all of the work that you have to do in that relationship, especially a new one, because new relationships always present decisions that need to be made, like which way you're going to go, like are you going to live with someone? How do you approach a new relationship? It's all sort of, you have to reinvent it every time you do it. And that's what that card represents. But if you're asking about your love life, that is the most healthy possible outcome you could get in a 10 card
Oh.
reading. Yeah.
Great, I feel better then.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Here's one other wrinkle to your reading. And that is this card here, back here, you'll see there's an arrow. It's the modifier. So that self-advice card, remember I said it's like the yellow Post-it you put on your fridge? That influences the likelihood of this outcome directly. So taking that enthusiastic young approach to what you're looking for, in other words, being very open to
Interesting.
learning new things, will make this final outcome much more likely.
Oh wow, interesting. I never thought about that. So I
Yeah.
have to be the Page of Wands in order to meet my King of Wands, and then eventually lead to the Lovers.
There you go.
If I don't, I'm gonna be stuck in that rut. I'm gonna be stuck in that Nine of Swords reverse.
You've just synthesized, you've basically summarized the reading perfectly. Yes.
Cool. Thank you. This is very, very helpful.
Well, and remember, so
Now I'm gonna go.
remember the word optimistic came out for your reading.
True.
So, and I know it's
How often
right.
do you hold these-
Sorry, what?
How often do you hold these tarot readings? Card readings?
This is the third day in a row this week that I've done them.
Oh wow.
I think this is the 10th one since I've started doing this whole sort of world thing.
I like your world. It's very relaxing.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah. Well, yeah. I think I might
Oh, now I'm in the.
add a few
You know,
more little things.
I'm gonna be a Page of Wands right now, and I'm just gonna
Page
say,
of Wands.
you complete me.
Yeah.
You had me at hello.
That's perfect.
You're
That's
like half my
funny.
age. I could tell by
Hi.
his voice. You're old enough to be my son.
Do you
Yeah,
want
that's
do you
funny.
want to
Do you have a
ask a
son?
question? Are you waving? Do you want to ask a question? Let me see.
Nah,
Let me
how
see
old do you
what
think
you're.
I am?
16.
Suki 954. Is
I'm-
that
I'm
how you say
19
it?
and a half.
Poor little baby.
Oh, I'm on. Yo, look at you. I'm in the sky.
All right, who's next for
Oh,
the
I'm
reading?
sorry. I had my thing on mute. It's actually so
Oh, am I in
unique.
the sky right now?
There you go. Oh, good. So I can hear you now. So yes, if you want a reading, you can just ask a question.
Really? That's crazy.
Oh, I don't know what question to ask. What?
Any question. Anything that's
Any
sort of
question at all?
concerning you, or
Ender
anything you
chick.
kind of think you want to know over the next
Yes,
week or two.
darling.
Oh yeah, I want to know some things.
Thanks, Theo.
You're welcome.
I want to know if wait, what is so you like
That's my reading, girlfriend. You ask your own question, get your own reading.
That's right. That's an old.
She's like, nah, I want this reading.
She wants that reading.
See
So
what?
when you ask your question, all those cards up there on that screen will change. This all what you're seeing now on this screen was for her reading. So if you ask a question, this will all change for you.
oh
Yeah.
okay.
So go ahead and ask.
It's the microphone.
No, that's a laser
Ask your
pointer.
question.
That's a dead laser pointer.
Let him know what your question is.
What is my question? Shoot, what about okay, my music career?
Oh,
Ooh, good question.
okay, hang on. I'm going to shuffle the cards. Okay, now I'm going to pick the cards
Music?
one by one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Let's see here. All right. Reading tone. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mute microphones so I don't get feedback. Okay. All right. So the overall tone sounds a little cautionary, and that's probably very appropriate for music careers, that kind of thing. You kind of have to be careful, like how you approach things, who you talk to, that whole thing. Let's look at what the nature of the reading is. We've got we got a major card here, we got a major card there. Okay, and those are the only two major cards. Okay, so basically, what we've got here in the very first position is the heart of the issue, the major concern. The Page of Wands, who is upside down, he's reversed, may show the prolonged hesitation of self-doubt at the threshold of new creation, work, or love. What is holding you back? Has your preparation been adequate? So basically, there's a concern here about being prepared for one's career, for one's development in music. And it's saying, pay attention to what you need to do to get yourself where you need to be in order for people to give you a chance. Okay? So kind of open up and be ready to learn more. Don't be hesitant to behave sort of like someone new to the game. Allow yourself to be new to the game. Allow yourself to sort of have that young mindset where you're like, I don't know everything. I don't know quite what I'm doing yet. I have a lot to learn, but I want to. That's what that card is saying. Now, here you have sort of an obstacle. You have something that's sort of right there in front of you, this whole situation. It's the Knight of Wands. And that signifies the enthusiastic and active creative mind heading out into the world to meet all challenges. You meet new possibilities and new sensual experiences with confidence. Well, singing, music is a sensual act, of course. It makes your ears, be in love with the world. So this is basically saying, okay, just keep in mind what we said before. The Page here, you want to stay enthusiastic and learn and have a young mindset. Well, it's just being reinforced by being more enthusiastic and keep your active creative mind working and percolating, and keep taking active steps to improve yourself in your music career. That's what that's saying. Now let's come down to like your inner mind, something you're not necessarily aware of, have ignored, and maybe need to pay more attention to. And that is the high priest, who's a wise teacher. However, the card is reversed, it's upside down, meaning that you might need to beware of falling under the spell of fanaticism or controlling behavior. Now, of course, in the music world, there are lots of people you're going to deal with and do business with, some of whom are not going to be the best influence. Others will be really good influences. This is an unconscious worry that you may have that may hold you back. It may be part of what's keeping you from pushing forward, because there's maybe a little worry about falling into like weird, bad relationships with a crappy agent or some producer who's like full of bad ideas and just wants to tell you what to do or doesn't take you seriously. That this is a worry that may be sort of working deep in your mind that you have to kind of get past. Now, something in the past that you're moving beyond already. You're growing beyond this number 4 card, which is the Knight of Cups, also upside down, signaling an immature and overbearing emotional outburst or a withdrawal into self-obsession. So in other words, this card is saying, hey, don't be so wrapped up in your own reactions to things and your own feelings and getting all hyper emotional about this. Kind of just let that go. That's what that card is saying. Let it go. That's in the past. You're already growing beyond that. Okay, something up here to keep in mind and remind yourself of every day, and that is the self-advice card. The 10 of Pentacles, 10 of coins, in other words, places one at the end of a cycle of financial and physical growth, balancing the earthly with the spiritual in full achievement. A new cycle is ready to begin. So this card is saying, and it's about coins. Coins are money, they're work, they're your job, they're your career. And we're talking about career here. And it's saying, hey, you're just about ready to make a new step into a whole new development cycle. You're about to change something big. Keep that in mind. Keep reminding yourself that you're ready for the next big step. That's why that card is there. Let's go on to something now that's coming up. Something you're moving toward. And that is near future. The Empress exudes creativity and beauty. However, the card's reversed, hinting at withdrawal, imprisonment, or hasty and excessively wild actions. So this is saying, be on the lookout now, coming up soon, for this kind of behavior. It could be in yourself, it could be in someone else, as we were talking about managers and producers, that kind of thing before. Be careful of this kind of, excess, or hasty decision-making, unwise decision-making. Someone, again, trying to control and make bad decisions for you, force you into things you're not happy with. This card is saying, be careful about that. It's coming. Okay. 7. This is your self-image. This is kind of what you might sometimes think about your own self. The King of Pentacles, reversed, indicate a rejection of the wider world, narrowly focusing on recent success. It can also mean financial and physical trouble. Okay. Self-image, you may think of yourself as having these troubles and being a little bit isolated. Okay, so self-image is something we all have to deal with. Let's move on now to how other people may be seeing you. And it's the 10 of Wands, reversed again, can mean a clinging to old accomplishments or desire that has burned out. Consider whether you are avoiding a new choice and a new path. Okay, so sometimes you may think that other people might see you as having had a success in the past, and maybe they think, why aren't you doing anything now? Come on. Come on, you can do it. We've seen you perform, or we've seen you play, or do the next thing. And you're kind of worried that maybe they're thinking that you're kind of dropping the ball. That's fine. We all think these things about other people, how they see us. We're always afraid to go out because of what we think people are thinking of us. Big deal. Let's go up to 9, the ninth card, which is hopes and fears. And this is a great big emotion card of the heart. The Six of Cups suggests harmony and happiness, of true love and understanding of one's emotions. Love expands with confidence and reaches higher levels. So this is a hope. This is you probably wanting to really love your career, to really be able to express what you feel in your career of music. That's what every artist dreams to do. This is a big hope. And it influences everything, because the more you stick to this hope up here, the more expressive your music becomes and reflects your heart. I remember watching a documentary about Elvis Presley and how when he first started, he went to the recording studio in Memphis, I think, and he went in to do an audition to like record a demo to see if they would want to have him as an artist. And he went in and he sang this something, and then the guy that ran the studio came out and said, "Hey, dude, you want to do that again? And instead of trying to sing really well, could you just sort of do it like you really, really feel?" And he did it again, and apparently the guy came out and said, "You're going to be the greatest singer in the world." So he did it because the guy told him, do what's in your actual heart. Sing it the way you feel it in the moment. And that's really good for, I think, anyone in music. Now let's go over to the 10th card, which is the likely outcome. And we have the King of Wands reversed, may show an overbearing and arrogant attitude toward work, love, and creativity. Perhaps it instead shows laziness leading to failure. Well, that is a very good warning for any artist who's struggling to make a big development in their career, in any form of art. That's something to keep in mind. And the card here, the 5th card, the self-advice, influences this, because what it shows is, it says, remind yourself of this new development that you need to embark upon. Always remind yourself of that, and that will change this card here and flip it so it's upright, and it will give you the benefits of the King of Wands, which means mastery of your creative powers. So you have to pay attention to that 5th card there with the 10 coins on it to get the positive outcome over here. So basically, in a nutshell, this reading is suggesting to you that you take those opportunities to learn, and you don't be afraid to take bold steps and express yourself fully, what's in your heart, in your career of music. And remind yourself that as you prepare, you will be ready to take the next big step. And that will lead to mastering your creative powers. And there you have it.
Wow, thank you.
You're very welcome.
This is my first time here in Alt Space.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Altspace is pretty cool, actually. I was doing it
See.
a while ago, a couple of years ago, and then I kind of dropped it for a while. And now I have decided that it's a great place to do tarot.
Oh, so you work here?
Oh no, I don't work for Altspace. No, but this is my tarot world. Yeah. So
Nice. So I can build a world here in Alt Space?
of course.
Can I build a strip club?
Absolutely. Why not? I'm sure. I don't know if it I don't know how it'll work. I don't because I don't think the avatars can actually disrobe, but you can build any kind of people sometimes build like dance clubs or like cocktail clubs, and
Hmm.
they're just like cool environments, and people sort of gather and talk, and you know um,
So listen, if I like build a world, right?
yeah.
Um, can I make it private to where someone has to have a code to get in?
Yes. Yes, you can.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
What you do, just go browse the website, log in to the Altspace website with your user stuff, and
Hmm.
you'll find if you dig into the menu, you'll find like the worlds menu, and that's where you sort of start playing around with putting a world together. And they have simple things that you can start with, you know.
Mm.
Yeah. All right, I have to take off now. It's been great reading for you and everyone else. And anytime you want to come back here for a reading, feel free. Uh, I usually set these events up during the week. So, but meanwhile, have a
All right,
great,
cool. I'm gonna go visit the open mic night.
yeah, have a great one. I'll see you later.
Okay, you too.